Hi everyone and welcome to our webinar. Today we will be discussing compliance, so how to get there and how to stay there. Our previous webinars explored the benefits of outsourcing and how FM can help you to go green. So if either are of interest, you can find those on our YouTube channel or via our website. So this will be a high-level snapshot focusing on the importance of compliance. If you would like to discuss anything mentioned in the webinar further, then feel free to get in touch. So compliance in FM. So we all know how important compliance is within facilities management, and at Derwent FM it's underpinned in all aspects of our operation. So we touched on this briefly in our benefits of outsourcing webinar, and that's that many of our clients' key driver is always compliance. However, keeping up with new rules and legislation can be time consuming, and it's often a challenge for estates, facilities and operational teams. So we would recommend proactively keeping on top of compliance via a CAFAM system, and this should alert you when attention is needed or when works are due to be serviced or completed, and this will just ensure that you have a clear audit trail. So we've seen that a company's visibility of documents is really important when trying to manage a large property portfolio. It's also a requirement as well for ISO standards to maintain a legal register, and that ensures that we adhere to all up-to-date legislation. We would also recommend appointing someone who can stay on top of compliance, whether this be someone within your organisation or a professional facilities management company, and this is highly important for efficiency and also just peace of mind. So in FM this can cover health and safety, meeting sustainability legislation, service-specific requirements such as waste, water, building maintenance. So we'll run through some of those in a little further detail later on in the webinar. Today we'll be focusing on regulatory compliance, so your obligations legally. However, we know with FM you can really drill into this in terms of meeting industry standards, regulations, asset maintenance, and meeting the scope of bespoke contracts as well. So service-specific requirements. There can be lots of areas to consider when tackling compliance, so it's important to make sure your organisation has accounted for all applicable to your operation. So this will sometimes mean outsourcing to a specialist provider where you lack the skills in-house. An idea of some specific service requirements might be cleaning, security, pest control, fire systems, waste management, building safety, water services, gas and plumbing, and mechanical and electric. So businesses must appoint a responsible person to oversee both of these items, and we're going to have a look at some of the key services in the next few slides. So starting off with waste management, maintaining a clean and safe environment is crucial for maintaining the happiness, satisfaction and motivation of all individuals who interact with your organisation. So an example of some waste management services that might be applicable to your operation are general waste collection and removal, bespoke recycling services with clearly defined goals for increasing recycling rates, things like recycling of glass, plastic, metal, paper and cardboard. There could be handling hazardous waste, removal of confidential waste, wood recycling, inactive waste removal, so that would be things like brick, earth and concrete. There could be handling waste oil and also sometimes tanker services as well. So key benefits would include saving money on waste handling and disposal by reducing expenditure on landfill tax, improving your organisation's sustainability credentials and helping its public image as a result. Ensuring that even ambitious targets for cutting waste and reducing carbon footprints are met, and also maintaining a hygienic and pleasant environment for all building users. Water treatment. So there are legal obligations surrounding water hygiene and Legionella prevention in the UK. This is a necessity of any building owner or manager. So duties under the Health and Safety at Work Act extend to risks from Legionella bacteria, which may arise from work activities. Water risk assessments can be carried out to ensure the most appropriate and cost-effective water treatment services, and organisations have a responsibility to ensure the risks are identified, managed, prevented and recorded. So Legionnaire's disease should be a primary concern for any responsible organisation. Far too often, inadequate water treatment leads to the spread of disease if the service is overlooked. If you find yourself out of your depth with where to start in ensuring that high standards of water safety are met, you can appoint a professional FM team to control the risk of waterborne diseases. This can include, but is not limited to, cooling towers, water features, domestic water and flushing as well. So building and fire safety. So in terms of the new draft bill, this was issued in July 2020 with the Building Safety Bill expected to be approved by Parliament in late 2021. The objectives of the Building Safety Bill are to learn lessons from the Grenfell fire and to remedy the systemic issues identified by Dame Judith Hackett. So in terms of what this means for facilities management, a new building safety regulator within the Health and Safety Executives will set safety standards and also a framework of accountable persons for high risk buildings and the requirement to appoint a building safety manager. This also means that residents and leaseholders will have access to vital safety information, providing a golden thread of information. So that's key legislation to be aware of that's still kind of being adapted and changing, and we should also know more late this year. Health and safety and compliance. So this is obviously a huge area in terms of compliance and can be split into many different parts. But all businesses must have a health and safety policy, and this is actually a legal requirement for any employer who employs over 5 people. So the policy includes the Statement of General Policy on Health and Safety at Work and sets out your commitment to managing health and safety effectively and what you want to achieve. The responsibility section sets out who is responsible for specific actions, and then the arrangement section contains the detail of what you're going to do in practice to achieve the aims set out in the Statement of Health and Safety Policy. So legislation surrounding health and safety includes the Health and Safety at Work Act, so you have to ensure so far as is reasonably practicable the health and safety of yourself and others who may be affected by what you do or don't do. It applies to all work activities and premises, and everyone at work has responsibilities under it, including the self-employed. So employees must take care of their own health and safety and that of others who may be affected by their actions at work. They must also cooperate with employers and co-workers to help everyone meet their legal requirements. So the management of health and safety at work regulations also apply to every work activity and workplace and require all risks to be assessed and, where necessary, controlled. According to the Regulation 7 of the Management of Health and Safety at Work Regulations, there must be an appointed competent person to oversee and record all of the above. Our competent person is Anthony Vasey, and he is our Head of Safety, Health, Environment and Quality, and this person must have the following skills. So they must be proactive and organised with a strong track record of health and safety management in challenging environments, and also have the ability to foresee problems before they arise in order to promote a positive health and safety culture. So cost savings and compliance. Being compliant can make considerable cost savings, but if issues are overlooked, this can cause far greater problems in the future, such as heavy fines or even prosecution. Being compliant in your operation will ensure that you don't incur any unnecessary fines or penalties, thus ensuring your business reputation remains intact. Breaches can incur fines of up to £20,000, while issues that endanger human lives can produce unlimited fines or even imprisonment. If an employee is injured at work where best practice wasn't implemented, there's also a chance that they could claim against the business. The most severe consequence is the potential injury or even death of an employee. There were 30 fatalities over the last year in the construction sector, and these serious breaches have enormous ramifications for the businesses involved. In one high-profile case, there was a fine involved of £200,000 after the death of an employee that was due to the health and safety negligence. In some circumstances, unlimited fines have reached heights of £800,000, and the value of fines being administered over the last few years has risen considerably. The highest fine for the construction sector reached £2.6 million. Fee for intervention is a fine for a material breach, so things like not having training certificates for carrying out a role, not having a suitable and sufficient risk assessment, and in 2015 the sentencing guidelines were introduced, and this is whereby companies are now prosecuted based on the level of culpability and the company turnover. And this was brought in to ensure that punishments were proportionate with the size of the business and the level of risk exposed. So easy access to your documents and visibility can avoid that risk of dipping into non-compliance, ultimately protecting your workforce and business. So poor reputation can impact upon a business's finances, making things like gaining new business and developing and sustaining existing relationships tricky. In extreme cases, a failure to comply could lead to prosecution or serious injuries which would be detrimental to a business's standing. Compliance can ensure that procedures are undertaken efficiently, allowing companies to streamline processes by having strict guidelines to adhere to. So we take a proactive approach with our clients, which means there are less reactive tasks. Repairs can be done there and then, thus saving our clients money, but also giving them that peace of mind. So sustainability and compliance. We touched on this in our Go Green webinar, but some of the legislation that needs to be complied with surrounding sustainability is the Climate Change Act, the Carbon Reduction Scheme and the Energy Savings Opportunity Scheme. Failure to comply with this legislation again could lead to large fines and considerable damage to business reputation. Consistent with the information in the previous slide, compliance around sustainability is highly important. It's topical and it must be adhered to. What once might have been best practice or seen as proactively protecting the environment is now law. There are many avenues we could look at here, but just for some context, making an effort or planning to introduce or switch to things like electrical vehicles could contribute to hitting your business's green goals and might even be a way to save money and improve efficiency and service for your clients and contracts. So just like failure to comply has severe consequences to reputation, being seen to comply and even innovate in this area could significantly boost your reputation and also your business relationships. Again, if you'd like to look into this in further detail, we did do a webinar on going green as well, which will have more information and detail. So thanks so much for listening. As always, if you'd like to discuss anything mentioned in further detail, then please don't hesitate to get in touch via my contact details below, and thanks so much for your time today.